Hey, baby cakes. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Which, by the way, there was a new SNL skit with the. No, there wasn't a new skit.
Wow, you. Thanks.
I was gonna say I found the SNL skit where they did the NPR thing, and they had Betty White in it talking about her.
Oh, it's brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a little old. I can't remember what they were talking about, but they were talking about how it was moist and everything.
You didn't see the new skit where Chris Farley is doing
Where he's
the
a Chippendale
motivational speaker?
dancer? No, I haven't seen
That's
that one.
great.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. I did see this really great one with Gilda Radner that just came out, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to check it out.
It was really, really good. Wow, Rob just disappeared and he reappeared. Hey, everyone, welcome to this this YouTube special review of Star Trek Picard. We got a Season 3 episode to review with you today, Vox.
The penultimate.
The penultimate episode. And wow, Joe, weren't you wowed by this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was wowed.
He was knocked senseless over this episode.
So as you know, there's going to be spoilers in this. So
which is why I'm
prepared for
wearing
that.
headphones so I don't hear them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So, Joe, why don't you give us a recap of what happened?
Back to you, Nick.
All right. So this episode, Jack, we find out what's behind that red door. Guess what? It's everyone's favorite villain, the Borg. You get some Borg. You get some Borg. Everybody gets Borgified because the Borg have figured out a way to assimilate people without actually literally assimilating.
Without even trying.
them. They've been trying to. So basically, what it is when Picard was assimilated, they released some crap into his blood that was undetectable, and when he
And unintentional.
made the whoopee with
Beverly.
they passed that seed onto Jack.
Hot.
Yeah, they did.
So Jack is now hearing from the Borg, and the Borg.
I'm missing this?
Yeah, you're missing this.
Yeah, it's a Star Trek porn, not Picard.
So it
Or
turns
porn
out
cover.
all along the changelings were working with the Borg, and their whole point was to steal Picard's corpse so they could harvest this genetic code. And they found some way to put this genetic code into the transporter systems of all the ships. So anytime someone transports, they automatically get a piece of this code put into them. And the Borg use that to basically assimilate the entirety of the fleet, but they have to be under a certain age, under 25, I think.
Yeah,
they said.
before the cerebral cortex is fully formed.
Yeah.
What are they, Leonardo DiCaprio?
Right. So the Borg have officially assimilated basically the entirety of Starfleet. Admiral Shelby gets shot and killed. We're happy about that. And Shaw dies a terrible, terrible death. Unfortunately, he didn't need to die, but as he dies, he says, "You have the con, 7 of 9." So he finally calls her by her actual name. And the original crew escapes with Raffi and Seven still on the Titan. And Geordi says, "Here's my surprise I have for you.
Spoiler.
It's the Enterprise D." So
He's all about that D.
he's restored the D. He loves that D. He says, "Get in my D. I want you on my D.
There you go.
Get on my D."
Yep.
How am I missing all this?
And they and
We
so
told you to watch it.
You know what? That's on me.
they get in and they engage the D, and
Yeah.
they warp out to go back to the Sol system and to get their butts kicked by the Borg because they're
One
one
ship against
versus
the fleet.
The entirety of the fleet.
Oh, that's not going to work. Even I know that's not
Doesn't
going to
seem like a good way to go about it.
So that's this episode.
Let's start off with something
It
right
sucks.
off the bat.
No, I'm kidding.
The Borg again.
I know you don't like the Borg, but it makes sense
Again.
for Picard. It makes sense.
I get that. If they hadn't already done it.
The problem is
ruined
it
them in
didn't make
Voyager.
sense for Voyager.
Yeah, they ruined it in Voyager. They ruined it in Picard season 1 and 2.
I don't think they ruined the Borg in Voyager. I just think that it's...
They neutered the Borg in Voyager.
No, they didn't.
When you saw the Borg on screen in The Next Generation and First Contact, you were like, oh crap, it's the Borg.
Yeah.
You were immediately like, they're a presence. In Voyager, you never felt that.
That's not true.
Except for Scorpion, maybe.
That's not true.
No.
The Borg were unstoppable except for by one species. 8472. That's the only one who could...
I never felt the threat of the Borg in Voyager like I
Because
did.
you're lame.
No, it's because I had like good storytelling.
Ooh, I like this. You have a retort?
You're such a bitch.
And Picard season
going
1 and
well.
2.
I like that.
Yeah, Picard season 1 and 2. There was really no threat.
No, that's very true. I think actually
They've
what
been
neuters
neutered.
them is because the whole threat of the Borg was they weren't always around, and but when they did come, they kicked ass, right?
Yeah.
But now the Borg are in every episode. That's why.
Yeah.
That's
They
that's the
neutered
elimination.
Watered down.
They've watered them down. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it makes sense to me why they're in it. I don't love it. I would not have liked it if it was the Pa Wraiths, actually, in hindsight, because
I don't know if
that's stealing from DS9.
I don't know if I would have liked it either. But I think for what they were setting up, it makes more sense.
I don't understand the red glow, though.
The red glow of the eyes, ancient and evil.
The Borg are ancient.
But when I hear ancient, I don't think Borg.
How come we've sat here and bitched about them not touching DS9 in anything, and when they have the opportunity, when it's kind of presented to them and they don't, we're saying, well, I wouldn't want them to steal from DS9 now.
Well, I don't mind them stealing from DS9, but to Nick's point, what he's more arguing is that it's not a TNG story. Neither were the changelings, Nick.
Okay, the Borg are only 1,000 years old.
So I don't call that ancient really in this. The Pa Wraiths were ancient.
So theoretically, the Borg came around in the wait. We're in 25.
Let's say 1400.
The 1400s. That's not ancient, right?
I wouldn't consider that ancient. When I think ancient, and you look at the Pa Wraiths, you compare the Borg versus the Pa Wraiths.
Mm-hmm.
You look up the definition of ancient.
Oh, we could go that. We could go the definition of it.
Like if you're thinking now, it'd be what?
I would think
the year like 1000.
That 300s. Hell, I might even consider the 1400s ancient. But
I mean, if you're going 1,000 years from now,
yeah,
you're in year 1023.
Yep.
1023.
Yep.
So
that seems ancient to me.
Yeah.
But in the Star Trek mythos, I don't really view the Borg as ancient, even with it being 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in DS9 they called like the prophets and the Pa Wraiths ancient all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the red eyes, did you look at Gul Dukat and Jake Sisko? Red eyes.
Yeah.
And
they were pretty evil.
And the changelings.
The changelings.
I don't know. It obviously I didn't watch it, but it did the way that we were the way that you guys were describing what is it? It seemed like it was setting up for the Pa Wraiths.
Yeah. And to your point, Nick, does the Borg work better because it's Next Generation?
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. But for what they were setting up, it just didn't. Yeah, the little story plots they were giving, the things they said, yeah, it did. But as far as the way they were presenting it, no, it doesn't make sense.
I wouldn't have liked the Pa Wraith, and I also wouldn't have liked them to give us a new big bad.
Absolutely. It should not have been a new big bad. But the Borg is just enough.
I would have actually been okay if they explained it something to do with the Q, because all of a sudden Q died in last season. Why? Because Q are supposed to be infinite and never die.
Well, to their knowledge, they were supposed to be infinite.
But yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know from the Next Generation mythos who could it have been, other than like, I don't know, Romulan to deal with, or it could have been Sela, for the love of God.
Yeah, I mean,
But to your
It
point,
should have been Sela.
no.
to Nick's point though, I think he said that they don't really have time. They didn't have time to introduce they didn't have time for them to introduce it as the Pa Wraith and do the story justice.
Right.
And you're right about that.
And it would be dishonorable to DS9 because they don't have any DS9 characters.
Enough of the Borg.
Worf.
I mean,
Worf.
I'm okay as long as the other story carries, and I feel
There was a big Jordan officer on the damn bridge. He could have talked about the Jordan mythology.
Okay, but they didn't, because this is not a DS9 show. This is
Tell
a
that to the
Next
changelings.
Generation
Point
show.
Nick.
Tell it to the changelings that are on the show.
Counterpoint Rob.
I love your purpose on this episode. It's so great.
Moderator.
And haven't they been doing fan service this entire season?
Yeah, this episode is full
It
of
seems
fan
like
service.
it.
Yeah.
So they
It seems like
introduced
it.
the Enterprise D, and then you realize, hey, 50 years ago they knew how to use lights on a bridge of a ship.
Well, it's still kind of dimly lit. You notice that? It's more of like a yellow light as opposed to a white.
See, I know. I thought it was.
Yeah, but
bright.
back in the day, most lights now are. You ever notice that light bulbs have changed?
Oh, yeah.
Lights now are much more natural and like white and bright. Back in the day, you used to have like a yellowish
Incandescent.
hue.
Yeah, and now they're daylight.
We're
style.
old.
Yeah.
Is the moral of the story?
Yes.
Yeah,
We're talking about light bulbs.
like your light right here is a daylight bulb.
I
Not,
hate this light, though. It's not bright enough.
I like yellow ones.
Then put a new bulb in it. Oh wait, it's LED, isn't it?
Well, it requires this weird shaped bulb. I can't find a lighter lumen. Great radio. So
We suck.
We
so,
do.
Anyways, we get the Enterprise D, which I kind of felt like they were leading into.
So we're going to go right to the D?
Yeah, right to the D. What
Okay.
is there really to talk about in this story? I guess Geordi's daughters get assimilated.
We could
and
go
Data's like,
in linear order, like Jack at the beginning.
yeah, which Deanna runs from him right away. I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
And you're not going to be alone?
Nope.
Yeah, she says, you're not going to be alone. And then immediately she leaves him alone.
She's like, bye.
Women, am I right?
She says, bye, bitch. And she's out.
So it's revealed that he's part Borg.
Yeah.
Because of the DNA from Picard.
So the Borg queen is partially his mother.
Yeah.
So he has two moms.
Figure that one out.
Hot.
Not as hot as you think.
Oh.
No.
I mean, two moms. I've seen shows with two moms. Well, I wouldn't call them
Two
show.
moms
Two moms and a baby.
Two moms and a dad. Figure that one out.
I wouldn't necessarily call them shows.
Oh, mommy.
Do you call them movies?
They're
Films?
Yes.
Yeah, films.
Works of art.
Vignettes.
Yeah. That makes it sound fancy. Yes, I'll go with that.
But one thing I'll give them credit for is the way they weave the story together.
Yeah.
It actually works out pretty damn well. Especially if you look at First Contact, where he was able to hear them.
Which was always a plot hole.
Yeah, so it was clever, I guess you could say, as far as the new way they're trying to assimilate them as well.
Yeah.
Clever. And the science works.
So we're led to believe that this was all accidental.
Yeah,
right?
so we're led to believe that the changelings somehow discovered this. And then I don't know how they got in league with the Borg, but then that's when they started to try to implement it in the they started implementing the transporters and try to work with the Borg, and Jack's the transceiver that kind of puts the signal out there where they can all assimilate them.
So the changelings' revenge against the Federation is to turn them into Borg.
Yes.
See, that's dumb.
But are they afraid of the Borg? Because
they can't be assimilated by the Borg.
It was obvious that she was afraid of the Borg. Because the talking head
she was
had to have been Borg.
Yeah.
It had to be the Queen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that this new breed of changelings probably could be assimilated because they have more organic, more permanent body parts.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we're done with the changelings anyways. I feel like that was
they're gone.
They dead.
But that's also another problem with the plot. They're all over Starfleet, but now they're gone? Like, we're not going to bring that up again?
They're just done with that plot point?
I think so.
Because were they assimilated too?
But
right,
if they
like you said.
But we know they're going to get unassimilated, right? Because the forges are...
Yeah, because his daughters have been assimilated.
We know that's going to happen. So what then happens to the changelings that infiltrated Starfleet at every level? That's a lot to wrap up in one episode.
That is a lot.
My guess is they're not going to touch it.
That would be my guess as well.
Or, no, what'll happen? Because Beverly found a way. Beverly found a way to trace them at the end of the one episode.
Did she find the way? She said she could find a way, but it's a moral...
No, she did. It had to do with something in their bloodstream or something like that. She did. So they'll find a convenient way to wrap it up. They won't leave that plot hole open.
I hope not. So let's go into... I guess you can go to the D. You've been all about that D. Talk about the D.
I mean, it's fine. It's okay. I just feel like I understand that we were probably going to get this anyways. I just feel like we're leaning way too heavily into fan service at this point.
I think it's not Star Trek to do that as heavily as we are.
Yeah.
Because there's differences. Because, yeah, we've done the fan service. We've done relics with Scotty in The Next Generation. But it was done differently. It was a story that was done differently. We've done Trials and Tribulation. I disagree. That just worked.
But it was fan service.
It was fan service, but it worked better than I think this does.
It was good, yeah.
What do you... My question would be, what do you expect?
I expect...
And I don't mean it as asking like an asshole, but I mean, they brought back the whole cast.
Yeah, this is a natural progression, right?
They brought back the cast. What did you think was going to happen? Did you think it was... How... The whole purpose of season 3 was... rooted in fan service, because I think, in my opinion, and
having watched the show, of course,
having not watched any of it, but in my opinion, it seems like they tried to do something with a legacy character that wasn't fan service, and it didn't work. For 2 seasons, it didn't work.
Right.
So
but that was also a bad story.
It was a bad story.
But now you'll have to enlighten me. Is there a change in story writers for
Yes.
season 3 than season 2?
Season 1 had
one and two?
story writers than season 2, and season 2 had different than season 3.
Okay, so
Even though they were filmed at the same time, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
now that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but it's interesting that they had different writers.
Well, maybe they had different leadership at least for each season.
Okay, but my greater point is like when they brought back the whole cast, what did you expect from season 3, knowing it was the last season? So it's not like this got canceled mid-season. We knew going in that this was going to be the last season, and they brought back everybody.
I did expect fan service. I did not expect it to be as heavy-handed in some spots and so obvious in other spots.
That's fair, but I mean, when you
To me, and I'm nitpicking it, I enjoy it. I'd still enjoy it, but it's just way too much, too close together.
do you think that the showrunners were in a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation, where if you bring back the cast for the last season and you don't do some of these things?
See, they want to do a love song to Next Generation, which is what this season has been. It's been absolutely a love song to it.
But if they don't do that, some fans are going to be like, they missed an opportunity. They had everybody back together, and they didn't do A, B, and C.
Well, here's how it's
And if they
end.
do it,
The D was
season
destroyed.
Season 3 is going to end with Quark saying "computer end simulation."
No, it'd be Riker saying it in the old uniform.
In the old uniform, and Deanna walks out
Yeah.
because they're in their second year on the Enterprise for some reason.
Oh man, brutal. That being said, the recreation of the bridge was gorgeous.
They did a great job with it.
oh, now you like it.
They did
Gorgeous.
They did a great job. The shot of it warping out was a nod to the painting that Picard had. I mean, it was good. I mean, I think a lot to me rides on this finale now, because I feel like this episode especially leaned way too much into let me give the fans what they want as opposed to relying on good story writing. And it wasn't a bad story. It still wasn't bad.
No.
If I rated it, I'd probably give this a 6.5.
I think that's about right to do it.
But it's been trending downward for me. The first
half of the season was
3-4
glorious.
episodes knocked it out of the park. So I'm hoping this finale sinks it.
And it's I'm making it sound like I hate it. I don't, but I expected more intelligent story at the same time.
Okay,
Although, again, huge credit for the Borg assimilation thing. That was
well done.
Yeah, but better execution, I guess. It's not as bad as season 1 or 2, or as bad as Discovery, or anything like that, or
as bad as the last couple episodes of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it's been terrible. But they also did. They also did 1 through 5 was so good.
How dare you?
This has been a little let down from that first half.
How dare
of the
you? No, I'm not moving past. No, I'm kidding.
So
you're right.
This is a Picard review, not a shitty Battlestar Galactica review.
You can't even say the name right.
Because I don't care.
You idiot.
You know what? You shouldn't ever call anybody out for saying names wrong.
Anybody who's ever listened to this show, Nick mispronounces the word "the."
Yeah. So
I hate you guys.
It sounds like in the beginning of the season, weren't they? They weren't all together at all.
No, they all kind of came together throughout the season.
And it sounds like you guys liked that setup a little better.
Yeah,
it seems like once they came together.
Well, there was threads coming together into a ball of yarn.
So the writing felt better,
organic in that way.
Yeah.
It feels less organic right now.
And it seems like there's been 2 or 3 times the past couple episodes where the fan service has just been punching in the gut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to earlier where it was kind of more nuanced.
Yeah. I understand that.
And if you look at the story-wise, so they go to this museum and they have the pick. So the Enterprise is kept as the Forge has been refitting the Enterprise. They took off the saucer section for where it crashed and it's kind of rebuilt it.
Yeah.
But they're at this museum with other ships that aren't connected to this network that's the concern. So they go to the oldest ship one of the older ships in there, rather than the Defiant that was built to fight the Borg, rather than the Voyager, which is a more updated ship, rather than that Akira class, which is a more updated ship. That being said, I don't know if those were ready for flight, like the Enterprise D was.
If they got into the Defiant, it would enrage people.
I agree. But plot-wise, it makes more sense.
We're not worried about the plot.
I am.
No.
I think
we suspend belief on plot points. That's
I
okay.
don't want to. It's going to pain me to say this, but I agree with Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe. Did you just die a little inside?
I did. Oh.
I love to see it. I love to see it.
Can you go back in this Wikipedia page? Do they have friend of the show Jonathan Frakes as a recurring character and not main?
Yeah, they're all listed as special guest stars. The TNG crew.
Yeah, all of them intentional. I think it's an intentional thing.
Yeah, I think it's a more of a to bring more gravitas to the role.
Bring back Orla Bradley though. Bring back Laris.
Oh, Laris, yeah, for sure.
Bring back Laris.
From where? The dead?
No, she was
She's Picard's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
she's
Picard-
a Romulan. And she's fine as a Romulan.
Imagine Picard dating.
Michelle Hurd is 56. Good for her.
Yeah, for sure.
Holy freaking A. Jerry Ryan is 55.
What was that sound again?
I was surprised.
I'm just blown away. Wow. Jerry. Good for you.
So, do you have any calls for the next episode? You think?
No, I actually think I'm finally past making my calls on things.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were right-ish about what would happen with the ships at the...
Yeah, I thought they would use the whole fleet somehow. I don't know how they would have done it, but they would have gotten enough people together. They'd load up in all those old starships, and you'd see a final battle with, the HMS Bounty and the Defiant and, all these ships.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to blow up the Enterprise D with everybody in it. Everybody dies.
Yeah. What a twist.
Computer.
Well, there's only 9 people or 7 people running a ship that
was
has
designed for
1,100 people that are supposed to be operating
a
it.
crew of 1,100.
And one ship is going up against an entire Starfleet.
But they're not going to go up against... So where's the Borg cubes hiding, though?
So there was something about that it wasn't a nebula they were in.
I think they're hiding in the orbit of Jupiter or something like that. Like
or in the gaseous sphere of that somewhere.
Yeah, like somewhere like very close to Earth.
I think you're probably right about that.
That's my theory.
It's probably a planetary.
But if it's in Jupiter, that will be stupider.
So tell us how wrong we were. I know I'm being nitpicky.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the episode like Rob said. I don't hate it. Joe doesn't hate it.
No,
I think Joe loved it actually.
Probably more than both of you.
You gave it a 9, didn't you?
No, I gave it a 7.5.
Okay,
yeah, 7.5 good episode rating. Yeah. But hey, thanks for tuning in for our review. Next week is the final one. We got the finale of Picard, and then over the summer comes out Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds, baby.
So we got that coming up. So you'll find more reviews from us coming up in the future. So hey,
yeah, leave some feedback on the video.
That's what he said.
Comments, like it, smash that like button.
Subscribe, y'all.
Call us
734
494 0980.
Hey, you got it. Tell your friends about us. We have a normal podcast every Monday. You can catch on Apple Pods, Spotify,
tune in,
and right here on YouTube.
And right here on YouTube as well.
We'd love to have you.
Please.
Bye, people. Love y'all.
Bye.
Peace.